Hello, I'm Tim Loughton, Member of Parliament for East Worthing and Shoreham, and welcome to the latest of my 2-Minute Tim podcast. I just want to give a brief update on the EU negotiations and the upcoming referendum. This week, the Prime Minister came back from intensive negotiations with his colleagues in Europe and with Donald Tusk and put forward the draft proposals for renegotiating the settlement between the UK and the EU. Those proposals will form the basis of negotiations which are going to happen between the heads of government in the EU countries on the 19th of February, and then whatever is agreed to, if it's agreed to, will be put before Parliament and then could lead to a referendum as early as June the 23rd of this year. Now, I'm going to wait until I see the final detail. A lot of the devil is in the detail of these proposals, and of course they've not even been agreed by our 27 partners anyway. There were some good things I think the Prime Minister brought back, that we are specifically going to be able to opt out of the ever closer union of the peoples of Europe, which was enshrined in the original 1957 treaty, which started the European, what's now the European Union. There were warm words about improving competitiveness amongst European countries. We have heard that before, and slow progress has been made. What's it actually going to mean in practice? We had some proposals around restricting benefits for EU migrants coming into the UK, but they're going to be subject to a red card system, which means a lot of other countries have to group together with the UK in order to put a block on them. Is that practical? And also as a key proposal, which we said we wanted to, and I agree, to stop child benefit being sent from the UK to the children of migrants working in the UK, but whose children have never been in the UK, maybe still be living in Poland, Bulgaria and things like that. That has not been properly squared. Then there are other proposals around safeguards for non-Euro countries. This is really essential because a third of the population of the EU live in countries which are not part of the Eurozone. And we've seen what a disastrous record the Eurozone has had with bailing out Greece and other countries. It's really important that we stay outside of the Euro. That's absolutely got to be the case. But it's also important that the non-Euro countries are not dictated to by the majority of Euro countries. So there are some proposals there, but again, the devil is going to be in the detail. What we haven't seen is anything coming out of these proposals about how we reform common agricultural policy, which is a very large chunk of spending in the EU. Further reform as we need to the common fisheries policy. We know that particularly with a coastal constituency like East Worthing and Shoreham. What about regional aid, where a lot of money is wasted by recycling it around various European countries as well. Some greater undertakings on sovereignty. Is there going to be treaty change? How do we know that other countries are actually going to sign up to this if we pass this in a referendum? So I've said all along that my position on Europe was how would I vote would be, well, hopefully to stay in on the basis that we achieve substantial reform, that the EU is worth staying in for the whole of the EU, not just us, but probably to come out on the basis of I wasn't overly optimistic about what the Prime Minister may come back with. I don't think that position has changed. I need a lot more convincing than what these draft proposals actually show. I'm going to reserve judgment until the ink has dried on the paper, and if we do have a settlement that comes back after the 19th of February, I will look at that closely, and then I will say what my position is going to be and whether I'm going to be part of a vote to leave or a vote to remain campaign. And as I've also said, I want to hold a series of public meetings around the constituency. We started in January with a meeting, a well-attended meeting in Sumpting, the Talk to Tim meeting, so we can have a proper debate amongst local people about the implications of leaving or staying in under these new terms actually mean. So in a couple of weeks' time, I'll update this podcast. I'll be putting further things on my website. I'll be announcing the dates of further Talk to Tim meetings, and I hope people will engage. I've been getting lots of emails already, lots of activity on Twitter. So let's make sure everybody is as well informed as they possibly can be to make a well-informed decision when it comes to a referendum, and that referendum, as I say, could be as early as June. I don't favour an early referendum. I would prefer us to go for the long game because the Prime Minister said the referendum doesn't need to happen before the end of 2017. And I think if there's a prospect of getting better terms in an extended negotiation, I would prefer them to do that rather than go with the deal now. I'll be back again in a few weeks' time to give my position and see where we go from there. Thanks for listening.